Welcome back, the rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Abraham Lincoln Wheat Pennies and rare Lincoln Wheat Cents. But not just any coins. We're talking about the ones that sold for thousands of dollars at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1948 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark. But there's a twist. This coin is in full bad condition. You might be surprised at its value in today's market. Let's check it out. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1948 Wheat Penny, minted in Philadelphia, is part of the famous series that ran from 1909 to 1958. These coins feature Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two ears of wheat on the reverse. But what makes the 1948 penny unique, especially the one without a mint mark? Most coins have a mint mark to indicate where they were produced, a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But the 1948 penny without a mint mark was minted in Philadelphia. That means this coin has a special connection to its place of origin. Now, here's where things get interesting. The condition of a coin is everything in determining its value. In the world of coin collecting, we have a grading scale from good to mint state. But today, we're talking about a full bad condition coin. And you might think, how much could a coin like this be worth? Well, let's take a closer look. Despite the rough condition, even a 1948 wheat penny without mint mark can still have some value. In full bad condition, or what we call good or fair condition in numismatic terms, this coin typically goes for around $96,000. Yes, you heard me right. It might not break the bank, but it still has worth. So why does it still have value, even in this poor condition? Well, despite wear and tear, every penny in the wheat series has intrinsic historical value. The 1948 penny, especially without a mint mark, is still sought after by collectors because of its age, its association with the iconic Lincoln design, and its connection to the era. If you find a 1948 penny in your collection, even in bad condition, don't throw it away. Here's a tip. Always check the condition, and if you're unsure about its value, consider consulting with a professional coin appraiser or checking a trusted online guide like the Red Book. You never know when a coin could be worth more than you think. So, while a 1948 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in full bad condition might not make you rich, it's a great example of how even less than perfect coins can hold historical value. And if you're lucky enough to have one in your collection, it's still worth holding on to. Next up, the 1937 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. But this isn't just any penny. We're talking about one in very fine condition. What's its value in today's market? Stick around to find out. So, let's start with some basics. The 1937 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny is part of the long-running series that was minted from 1909 to 1958. These pennies are iconic for their design, featuring a profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front and a reverse with two ears of wheat on each side of the coin's value. The 1937 penny specifically is part of a series that saw some very interesting shifts in the U.S. economy. Now, you may be wondering, what does the mint mark have to do with the value of this penny? Well, mint marks tell us where a coin was produced. For example, D means it was minted in Denver, and an S means San Francisco. But the 1937 penny without any mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. At the time, most pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and this coin reflects that. It's important because the absence of a mint mark on this penny makes it a little more intriguing, as some collectors pay close attention to mint mark variations for different years. One of the most important factors in determining a coin's value is its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, with various grades in between. In this case, we're talking about a coin in very fine condition. So, what does that mean? In very fine condition, the coin still shows clear details, but it has some light wear from circulation. The design is still sharp, and you can clearly make out Abraham Lincoln's facial features and the wheat ears on the reverse. However, you may notice a slight loss of detail in the fields and around the coin's edges. At the time of this video, a 1937 Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition without a mint mark typically ranges in value from about $1.50 to $3. That's right. For a coin in very fine condition, you could be looking at a value that's several times higher than its face value, but don't expect to find these pennies just lying around. Although it's not as rare as some of the earlier years in the Wheat Penny series, a coin in this condition is still quite desirable for collectors, and its value can vary slightly depending on the exact grading and demand in the market. Now, you might be asking, what makes a coin like this worth more than others? Well, the value of a coin is determined by several key factors. First, there's rarity. While the 1937 penny itself was minted in large quantities, finding one in very fine condition is rarer than you might think. Many of these coins were circulated heavily, and finding one in great shape requires some patience and luck. Second, there's demand. Certain years or mint variations are more popular with collectors, especially those who specialize in the Lincoln Wheat Penny series. The 1937 penny is relatively common, but a coin in good condition, like the one we're talking about, is always in demand. Lastly, condition is everything. The better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that are well preserved with no significant scratches, dents, or discoloration are worth significantly more than those that are worn or damaged. You can always check online marketplaces like eBay, specialized coin dealers, or even local coin shops to get an estimate of what your coin might be worth. But make sure you do your homework. Get it graded by a professional like the American Numismatic Association, ANA, if you want a more precise value. And if you're thinking of selling, make sure to compare prices from trusted sources. Prices can fluctuate based on market trends, so it's good to know exactly what you have. Now, is the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny a good investment? Well, while it may not be as valuable as some of the rarer or earlier pennies in the series, it's still a solid investment for coin collectors looking to build a complete set. With the right condition, these pennies can increase in value over time, especially as demand for coins from this era continues. Next up, the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the Dmint mark. But here's the twist. This coin is in full damage condition. You might be thinking, can a damaged coin still have value? Well, stick around because we're going to find out just how much this penny is worth in today's auction market. All right, collectors, the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the Dmint mark is a popular coin for collectors, but today we're focusing on one that's seen better days. This penny has full damage, and I mean serious damage, deep scratches, corrosion, and plenty of wear. But even with all that, you'd be surprised at what these pennies can still go for in today's market. Here's a close-up of the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the Dmint mark. As you can see, it's in rough shape. The front, or obverse, features heavy wear on Abraham Lincoln's portrait, and the reverse, or back, shows signs of significant scratching and surface damage. Despite these flaws, it's important to remember that even damaged coins can have value, especially if they're from a popular series like the Lincoln Wheat Pennies. So what exactly causes the damage on coins like this one? Damage can come from a variety of sources: harsh cleaning, improper handling, environmental exposure, and even accidents. This coin likely spent a lot of time circulating, and the damage is the result of everyday wear and tear. But how much is this penny worth, even in its condition? Let's take a closer look at its value. Before we talk about value, let's quickly touch on coin grading. Coins are graded based on their appearance, with higher grades representing better condition. For this penny, we're looking at a coin in full damage condition, which means it's significantly worn and has visible damage. Coins like this are usually graded somewhere between poor and fair depending on how bad the damage is. Now, you might be wondering, can a damaged coin still be worth something? The answer is yes, but it's all about the rarity and demand. In the case of the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a Dmint mark, it's not a super rare coin, but it's still a piece of U.S. history. The 1952 penny was produced in large numbers, with over 1 billion coins struck, so its value is usually not sky high, even in better conditions. So how much can you expect this 1,952 Lincoln Wheat Penny to fetch at auction in full damage condition? In today's market, a coin like this typically ranges between $350 to $5, depending on the severity of the damage. Yes, the condition definitely impacts its value, but you can still expect it to be worth more than just face value. And if you're looking to sell, it's important to note that damaged coins may sell for lower prices than their undamaged counterparts. But collectors might still be interested, especially if they're looking for a coin to complete their series. As we can see, even coins in poor or damaged condition can have some value, especially if they're from an iconic series like the Lincoln Wheat Pennies. The 1952 penny with the Dmint mark isn't going to make you rich in full damage condition, but it's a decent coin for collectors who enjoy tracking down those historical pieces, no matter what condition they're in. So, to wrap things up, the 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny with the Dmint mark in full damage condition has an estimated value between $900 on the auction market. While not a high-value coin, it still holds some worth, especially for those who enjoy collecting coins in all kinds of conditions. If you've got one of these in your collection, you're holding on to a piece of history, even if it's not in perfect shape. Next up, the 1946 penny with the Dmint mark. This coin may be over 75 years old, but is it valuable today? Let's break down its worth, especially in good condition, and see how much it's worth in today's market. All right, let's get started. The 1946 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of the famous series minted between 1909 and 1958. The coin features a bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and a reverse with 2 ears of wheat on either side of the denomination. But today, we're specifically focusing on the 1946 penny with the Dmint mark now. The mint mark, as some of you know, indicates where the coin was made. A Dmint mark means this penny was minted at the Denver Mint. For the 1946 penny, the Dmint mark adds a slight distinction from other versions, especially from the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use a mint mark that year. As many collectors know, mint marks play an important role in coin collecting. The 1946 Wheat Penny without a mint mark was minted in Philadelphia, but the Dmint mark is key here because it tells us this coin came from the Denver Mint. So, why does this matter? Well, the mint mark can affect rarity and sometimes even value. While 1946 was a relatively common year for Lincoln pennies, the version with the Dmint mark is just one of several variations to look out for, and it could slightly impact the price. Now, before we talk about its value, let's quickly touch on what good condition means. Coin grading can be a bit confusing, so let's break it down, simply. In numismatic terms, a good condition coin shows significant wear but still has enough detail for identification. The date is legible and the basic design elements are still visible, but the coin may be worn down, with less detail in the fields and on the edges. It's not a coin in pristine shape, but it's still a solid example for collectors. Now, if you're looking at your 1946 penny and wondering if it qualifies as good condition, you should be able to clearly read the year and make out Lincoln's profile and the wheat ears, even if they're a little worn. At the time of filming, a 1946 wheat penny with the Dmint mark in good condition is typically valued between 25 cents to $1. Yes, that's right. This coin can still fetch anywhere between 25 cents and $1, depending on the exact condition, the current market demand, and where you're selling it. It's important to note that the price can vary slightly based on the specific grade within the good condition range, the rarity of finding one in that state, and fluctuations in coin market trends. But in general, the 1946 penny with Dmint mark is relatively affordable and accessible for most collectors. Now, you might be wondering, why is the 1946 penny worth this much, especially in good condition? Isn't it just a common coin? Well, let's break down why this penny still holds value. First of all, it's important to understand that while 1946 was a relatively abundant year for the Lincoln Wheat Penny series, the Dmint mark does make it slightly more sought after. The Denver Mint produced millions of these pennies, but not everyone has survived in good condition. Plus, even common coins like the 1946 with Dmint mark are part of an iconic series. The Lincoln Wheat Pennies are highly collectible because of their historical connection to Abraham Lincoln and their lasting legacy in American coinage. And let's face it, there's always a certain charm to finding one of these coins in your collection. If you're on the hunt for a 1946 wheat penny with the Dmint mark, there are several ways to find one. You can check local coin shops, online coin dealers, or even auction sites like eBay. But what should you do if you found one of these pennies and want to sell it? When selling, you'll want to compare prices on trusted websites or consult with a professional coin dealer to get a fair value estimate. You can also get your coin graded by a reputable grading service like the American Numismatic Association or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation to ensure you're getting the best price. Whether you're buying or selling, always do your research. The more you know about the coin's condition and its market value, the better deal you'll get. So, is the 1946 Lincoln Wheat penny with the Dmint mark a good investment? Well, it depends on your goals. For serious collectors, this penny is a great addition to a wheat penny collection, especially if you're looking to complete a set of all the different mint marks. However, as far as investment value goes, this penny is not likely to skyrocket in value in the near future. It's a relatively common coin, and the price will mostly stay in the range we've mentioned unless there's a significant shift in demand. But if you're just starting out as a collector or you love the history behind these pennies, the 1946 wheat penny with the Dmint mark is a solid coin to hold on to. It's affordable, easy to find, and will likely always be a part of America. Next up, the 1956 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with the Dmint mark. This coin may not be as old as some other rare pennies, but when it's in fine condition, it's still worth more than its face value. Stick around as we dive into its value in today's market and what makes it so collectible. Let's kick things off with a quick introduction. The 1956 Lincoln wheat penny is part of the well-known series that ran from 1909 to 1958. These pennies are beloved by collectors due to their classic design featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 ears of wheat on the reverse, which is why they're often called wheat pennies. Now, what makes the 1956 penny stand out from the rest? It's not just the year, it's the Dmint mark, which indicates it was minted at the Denver Mint. While the 1956 penny was also produced in Philadelphia and San Francisco, the version with the Dmint mark is particularly important for collectors. Let's talk mint marks for a moment. Mint marks tell us where a coin was produced. A D means it was struck at the Denver Mint. For many collectors, the mint mark can affect a coin's value, especially if it's a year with fewer coins produced at that particular mint. In the case of the 1956 wheat penny, while the Dmint mark isn't considered rare, it does set this coin apart from the other 1956 pennies minted in Philadelphia. And that little difference can influence its desirability among collectors. Before we talk about the value, let's discuss what we mean by fine condition. Coin grading is a key part of understanding a coin's value, so let's break it down. Coins in fine condition show noticeable wear, but still have clear details. In the case of the 1956 wheat penny, you should be able to make out most of the design features clearly, including Lincoln's profile, the wheat ears on the reverse, and the lettering. The coin has some wear, but it's not heavily damaged or corroded. So, a fine condition. 1956 penny is one that's been circulated but still looks relatively sharp. It's a great coin for any collection, and it's one that can retain some value even after years of circulation. At the time of filming, the value of a 1956 wheat penny with a Dmint mark in fine condition generally ranges from 15 cents to $2. Yes, that's right. This penny is worth between 15 cents and $1 in today's market. While it might not be a high-dollar coin like some earlier wheat pennies, the 1956 penny is still quite popular among collectors, especially those looking to complete their sets. If you've got a well-preserved one, even in fine condition, you could fetch a decent amount for it. Now, you might be wondering, why is the 1956 penny with the Dmint mark valuable, even in fine condition? After all, it's not as old as some of the other rare pennies out there. One of the reasons this coin is valued by collectors is its connection to the famous Lincoln Wheat series, which is incredibly iconic. While the 1956 penny isn't as rare as some other years in the series, it's still a key part of that larger collection. Another reason is that even though the 1956 penny was minted in large numbers, finding one in good condition, particularly in fine condition, makes it more desirable to those building a complete set of Lincoln Wheat pennies. The demand for well-preserved coins from the mid-20th century is always there. If you're looking to add a 1956 wheat penny with Dmint mark to your collection, there are a few ways to find one. You can start by checking local coin shops' online marketplaces like eBay or even coin shows. These pennies are pretty easy to come by, and you can usually find one in a variety of conditions. Once you've got one, whether you're buying or selling, make sure to get it graded if you're uncertain about its value. You can also compare prices on trusted websites to ensure you're getting a fair deal. When selling, online platforms or local dealers are a great way to go, but be sure to do your research before setting a price. So, is the 1956 wheat penny with the Dmint mark a good investment? Well, it really depends on what you're looking for in terms of return. As a fine condition coin, it won't likely see massive price jumps in the near future. However, it's still a great coin to have in your collection, especially if you're building a set of Lincoln wheat pennies. Because it's a relatively common coin, you're not going to see huge investment gains in the short term, but it will likely hold its value and may appreciate over time as collectors continue to seek out well-preserved examples. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Have you come across any 1956 pennies in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.